Hi guys, it's Tracy. Welcome back to the Lost Artichoke. So I'm going to make a super simple green chili for you guys tonight. I know some of you are thinking chili, winter, hearty, comfort food. We'll take that out of your mind because we're gonna make this really summer forward. I'm gonna use a ton of fresh herbs. We're gonna use some fresh chilies, some green salsa verde, as well as adding in some beans and some chicken for that protein side. So stick around and I'm gonna show you how I put it all together. Okay, so, this chili really can be made from a lot of pantry staples. I know that's been kind of the trend throughout the quarantine. And then adding a couple of fresh summer ingredients to make it, like I said, summer forward. So we're gonna start with about 3 garlic cloves, which I've already chopped. You want to finely mince them and set those aside. And then we're going to put 1 whole jalapeno. So I've chopped some of it. I can show you guys quickly how I would, the size that I would do. Sometimes people ask those questions, so I'm gonna quickly do that, the rest of this. And then we're also gonna put 1 whole Anaheim pepper in that, which is not spicy, but it's gonna give it, like I said, that nice chili taste. And I've already chopped that. So you're gonna chop both the jalapeno and the Anaheim, and then we're gonna add some dried green chili powder into that too, to bring in a different element. And then next, I'm going to put a chopped onion. I'm going to finely chop that. I had a large one, so I cut it in half, but you probably use a medium-sized yellow onion. And so, kind of show you how I chop that. I like to leave some things for you guys to see and not prep it all. So, there. It took me a long time to figure out the art of chopping an onion. And then when it gets to the end, you just flip it over and then you can easily cut the rest. Okay, so that's really all of the fresh ingredients that we got. Okay, so the next step is to take your chicken, and I used about 1.5 pounds of chicken. I mixed it with chicken breast and thighs. Some recipes will call for all chicken breast. If you don't like the thigh to me sometimes is more tender, so it does have some fat, so you have to trim that off. So I cut that up in just chunks because it is going to cook down, and we can shred that later and it will fall apart. So that's that step. And then we're gonna add 2 cans of these diced green chilies, and that's gonna give even more depth with the chili flavor. The salsa verde, I'm gonna use 1 cup of that, and that's gonna go in once we saute the chicken. I'm gonna throw in some corn. I'm just gonna throw frozen. I had a little bit in my freezer. You can omit it if you don't have it, but just add some extra vegetable and freshness to the chili. And then some spices. So I'm gonna put in some cumin, coriander, a little bit of paprika, some oregano, and like I said, that green chili powder. So I'm gonna move over to the stove, and I'm gonna show you how I put that all together, and we'll cook it. Okay, so we're at the stove, we're gonna put this all together. So I have my onions and my peppers, or my chili. I can never say that. And we're gonna throw that in. And I actually heated this on about medium heat, and I put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use, any oil that doesn't have a high burning temperature, so it doesn't burn, but I love olive oil. It's not coming out, come on. Okay, and then the 3 cloves of garlic. So we're just gonna saute that for a minute and let that get soft and translucent, probably about 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm gonna add in my chicken to kind of brown that slightly, and then we'll put it all the other. Okay, so I forgot to tell you earlier that we are gonna add about 2 cups of dried beans that I did soak overnight. We're just using these white cannelloni beans, but you can use canned beans. If you want to take this process out, I just have dried beans I need to use, so it's going to take a little longer to cook. Then you can totally do that. So I've added in my chilies, my spices, and then I'm gonna throw in the chicken. And just toss that for a minute. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit. And we wanna really coat that chicken with all those spices and those chilies. And you can just roughly cut the chicken, like I said, because it's going to, once it cooks down, it's gonna shred. All right. And then I'm going to pour in 1 cup of that salsa verde. Again, just more flavors. So it's got the more chili, it's got the tomatilla flavors, which I'm growing in my garden right now. I'm really excited about making fresh salsa. And then we're going to pour in, we're just gonna throw our beans in, our dried beans. Kind of everything just goes into the pot. The corn, whatever corn you have left, I'm just gonna do a little bit. And then I have some homemade chicken broth, which that recipe is gonna be up on the blog as well, but I'm gonna pour that in, and then I didn't have enough. That's about 3 cups, and I'm gonna use the rest of this like canned chicken broth. There you go, so we're gonna mix that up. I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of salt, and then I'm going to close the top, and we're gonna cook this for a couple of hours. We're gonna cook it on really super low heat, and then you're gonna check on it periodically, and probably about a good 3 hours. We really want that chicken to just tenderize, and then the beans will take that amount of time as well. And so we'll come back and I'll show you once that's cooked how I finish it off. Okay, so it has been cooking for about 2.5, 3 hours. I'm gonna take it off. Ooh, hot. So I kind of took some of the, I have, stirred it throughout, and I took some of the chicken chunks and then just like broke them up, but they are so tender from cooking so long that it didn't take a lot to get them to break up into little pieces. But I wanted to show you this one last part of this before we serve it. So I like mine to be a little thicker. You don't have to do this if you don't want. But to do that, like an easy way is to take a can of cannelloni beans, and I took about half of them. I took a little bit of the broth, and then I blended them in my blender. Or my NutriBullet. And so now it's kind of a puree. So I'm gonna pour some of that into the chili, pour it back into the chili, and that's gonna thicken it a little bit more. So you can, if you like yours a little brothier, then by all means keep it that way. But I do like it to be a little thicker for some reason. So I decided to do that. So I'm gonna do that, and if you have any extra beans, you can just toss those beans in with the rest of the chili, and you're ready to go. Now, I did wanna also tell you, if you are using canned beans, don't put the canned beans in before the chicken. You wanna put those in probably about 30 minutes before you are finished with the entire dish, because if not, then they're gonna break up and get all crumbly and really kind of disintegrate into your broth. So do that at the end. If you're using fresh beans, then you can put those in at the very beginning and cook it with everything else. So this is ready to serve. So we're gonna take it off. We're gonna put a little bit of cheese, some tortilla chips, some cilantro, lime, and then a little bit of, I'm gonna do yogurt. You can do sour cream if you wanna do that too. So I'll be back in a second. I'll show you how I plate it. Okay, so it's done. I've taken it off, and I'm now going to plate it. So I am, like I said, I added the beans, so I let it just cook for another 10 minutes and thickened a little bit. So I'm gonna spoon a little bit in here and see that, oh my God, that chicken has just like melted in to the chili. Hopefully it's not too spicy. I added a lot of spice. Okay, so you can put whatever stuff you want on top. I love lots of green stuff, so I'm gonna put some green onions. Like I said, lots of fresh summery herbs. I'm gonna throw some cilantro, some fresh cilantro on there. Do not forget your lime, so I'm gonna squeeze some lime on there. I love avocado, so I'm gonna put a little chunk of avocado on there. And I don't use sour cream a ton. I kind of went to plain yogurt. It tastes the same to me. So I'm gonna put a dollop of that. And then our favorite part is just throwing a couple of these tortilla restaurant style chips on it. And then you just mix it in. Yummy! I don't think it needs a ton of salt, but I'm gonna do a little pepper on top and a little salt. There you go. I'm gonna taste it. Oh, so light and fresh. All right, let's mix it up here. Take a little bite of everything in it. A little bite of that, some avocado. Sorry, I'm gonna use my fingers. 1 second. Okay. Oh God. That's amazing. It is spicy. A little spicy. So if you don't want that much spice, take out, one of the jalapeños. You could also take out a little bit of, the dried chili, and to bring it back a notch. But I like a little spice, and that the yogurt or the sour cream will kind of help mellow out some of that spice. So quick and easy, like I said, summer forward chili. I'm excited for you guys to try this at home.